I'm Robert Ford. I'm here from a very proud AWS partner called CoreStack. Now, CoreStack is a multi-cloud, next-generation enterprise platform. And I'm here today to share with you and talk about NextGen Cloud Governance in general. But before I start, I want to throw down a bold statement. I'm going to put the assertion that cloud governance is the new cloud frontier to master. Now, marinate in that for a few minutes. And it's not just me that's saying this. When you listen to analysts, they're talking about cloud governance as almost the de facto new cloud operating model. And so, whatever your point of view, if you believe that sort of all roads digital lead to and from the cloud, then you can't afford to be average at cloud governance. So at CoreStack, I'm going to share with you our point of view, which basically is we want you to do cloud governance right and get more out of your cloud and have greater confidence. And I'm going to explain how. I've only got 15 minutes, so it's going to be pretty quick. But if you want to hear more, then we're all around the corner and we can go deeper onto the topic. But that's the intro. Now, there are a few slides of introduction, and then I'm going to get into the meat of the topic. So myself, I've been a CEO, a CIO of a university. I spent half my life at a hyperscaler. So I pretty much know most things about digital transformation. I've been an engineering lead. And here today, though, I'm taking all that and putting it together and talking about cloud governance. From a CoreStack perspective, to give you some context of where we come from, as I said, we're a very proud AWS partner. You can see the badges. But from a size perspective, today we're governing over $2 billion worth of cloud. We have 500 customers and partners. That's growing every day. And you can see a lot of the other numbers. The key thing is that we're also a very proud engineering company. And you can see the 20 patents, the 5 frameworks, the 20 compliance standards, and the 1,800 policies, all of which will become super important as we get into the weeds of this. CoreStack as a company offers 2 main things. It offers a suite of compliance, a set of compliance sort of checking assessments, things like assessments that will tell you whether you're compliant, whether you're at risk, how well you adhere to all the best practices, and those we call Compass. And you can see the FinOps, SecOps, and obviously the very hot one at the moment, which is the well-adopted framework. Not only do we automate these, we give you the recommendations, which then you can remediate through the platform that sits underneath, which is CoreStack FinOps, CoreStack SecOps, and CoreStack CloudOps, which is our cumulus set of products. The goal of all of these is to make your cloud estate model from a governance perspective. So with that as an intro, let me get into the why cloud governance and why now. And really, there's 2 evolutionary paths that are coming together at this sort of intersection that mean next-gen cloud governance is the conversation you need to be having. The first one is cloud itself. Now, the conversation about why cloud is done. That ship has sailed. The conversation about which cloud, well, that's done as well, because we all know we're multi-cloud. Obviously, we're going to be heavily domained in AWS, but we are all going to be multi-cloud. So the next conversation is how cloud. And I think we've all been wrestling with migration for the last few years, and there's enough prescriptive guidance out there, cloud adoption frameworks. You've all been living it. I can't claim victory, but we've got a long way with migrating. But the conversation now is, how do we govern all of this? How do we govern everything we put in there? And that's the conversation that we need to master. On the governance side, though, there's been an evolution as well. And we've framed it sort of then-gen, now-gen, and next-gen. And I won't ask you to tell me which one you're in, but the then-gen is these sort of single tools that just look over one cloud. They're very much about informing you of something. They're very basic, like a thermometer. It'll tell you when it's hot or cold. You need to do something about it. It's just going to tell you. A lot of homegrown solutions tend to fall in that category. And then we're in the sort of now-gen set of tools, which obviously are more intelligent. They're multi-cloud. They're more action and trigger orientated, so they do things. And they build on top of some of the native cloud services, CloudWatch, Trusted Advisor, all these things. They build on top of them with greater sort of sophistication, greater automation, and greater remediation. However, they still don't front the innovation curve that's coming out of the hyperscalers. And where you need to be with governance, because you don't want governance to be the reason you do not take advantage of the capabilities coming out of the cloud. So this confluence now means that now you need to be looking at governance through a next-gen lens, not just now, but always. And so that's why next-gen cloud governance is an important topic that you need to master. But I'm very conscious I haven't even described what governance is yet. So I think I'll spend a few minutes on that. Now, if I asked anybody outside and in here, what do they think of when they hear the word governance? I'm pretty sure it's sort of like, it's an overhead. It's going to slow me down. It's command, it's constrain. The energy probably is leaving the room as we're talking, okay? It just seeps away. And so what I want to do is try and change that round and bring the energy back in the room and give you a very simple definition that isn't just a definition, it's a framework, and something that we put forward as governance that enables you to sort of go faster and go further. And the simple definition, because unless it's simple, you're never going to remember it, is our definition at CoreStack of cloud governance is confidence. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's easy, done. But think about it for a second. Just think about that. Think of any aspect of cloud you want. Think of MTCO2 from a sustainability perspective. Think of compliance. Think of security. Think of assessment. Think of anything. Let's pick spend, because that's a big one. Think of spend. Are you doing cloud spend with confidence? Can you honestly look your board in the eyes and say that? You are. No matter whether you're an engineer or an IT leader, are you doing cloud spend with confidence? And what I mean by that is this acronym here. So let's just walk through it. Are you doing cloud spend with control? Can you control everything that impacts spend in your cloud platform? If not, you're not controlling it. Do you have ownership? Everything, you know that ownership is a great way to control spend. But ownership from a who, can you provide visibility even on the ownership? Or are you in this, where are you on this spectrum of cloud is a shared allocation to, oh, let's show them how much it costs and they'll still ignore us, to let's actually do chargeback that's integrated into billing systems and get the person who's spending the cloud accountable for the spend. I'm talking that kind of ownership. Can you do that? That's what NextGen is. Do you get notified when you are out of posture? So you have a cost posture, a security posture, a compliance posture. The minute, the second you drift from that posture, are you notified? Or do you wait until the bill comes in or somebody raises a flag? You have to have confidence in spend. Somebody can spin something up and it can spend an awful lot of money very quickly unless you're on it instantly. Do you trust? Do you have fidelity? Do you trust what you're told? I mean, how many times do you look at the data and say, nah, not really? You've got to get rid of the gut and get more with the data. So do you trust it? Do you get insights to predict what's going to happen to stop it happening before it happens? You get what I'm saying, but the point is to have confidence with spend, you need to discover the assets that are out there. How many of you, hand on heart, can say you know everything that's in your cloud tenant? Maybe you do, but is it tagged correctly? Is it tagged to the baseline you want it to be tagged? Etc., etc. NextGen is one attribute of it, but you can see, so when you talk about cloud governance, a simple way to make everybody understand it is to say, am I doing cloud MTCO2 from a sustainability with confidence? In other words, I can control it. I know who owns it. It gets notified. I trust it. It's predicting. I know everything out there. It does it super quickly. It's doing it with NextGen. It fits every standard I want, and it's repeatable. In other words, we do it time and time again. And if you can't, then I challenge you to probably look at your cloud governance strategy and come and talk to us. But this is a simple way. So again, every aspect, MTCO2, compliance, trust, spend, are you doing it with confidence? Because if you are, anything you do with confidence, you tend to do better, you tend to do more of it. And to be honest with you, your business, because I think we're all techies here, your business is demanding you have that confidence in your cloud platform because you want them to do something more with cloud. You're not going to make the money by just managing cloud. It's what you do with cloud that is where the true value comes. And you can't expect them to do anything if you haven't got confidence in cloud. So that's the sort of basic definition of what I mean by cloud governance. But one of the attributes there is NextGen. And so what do I mean by NextGen? Let me briefly talk on that one. So again, NextGen is almost an engineering ethos at CoreStack. Okay, so our CoreStack platform has to live, eat, and breathe NextGen. Our mission has NextGen in the middle of it. And what I mean by that is, you better be surfing on the front of the hyperscaler innovation curve, because as soon as you fall back in, for anybody who surfs, you know exactly how hard you have to work to get back up on that wave and how exhausting it is. And so if you're homegrown or you're multi-tool, it's a hard job. But for us, NextGen is a mission to make sure that when you're doing cloud governance, you're doing it with a next-gen approach. And it's more than a marketing buzzword. When you think next-gen, I've tried to make things as simple as possible for folks, is we've got this acronym, CHAIN. So when you're looking at governance, whatever you're doing and whomever you're doing it with, say, am I doing this in a continuous way? So what we mean by that is, use the analogy of your car. Everybody probably drives a car, and you know that somewhere under the hood is this control unit that you never want to break because it's super expensive, but it's controlling everything. Your brakes, your speed, your exhaust, your fuel economy, whatever. And it's there and it's just doing it. And you just trust it's there, but it's continuous. It doesn't just do it when you want it to, it's continually doing it. You put your cloud in, you put your car in sport mode, it goes. So, from a continuous perspective, any feature or capability CoreStack brings to the table, we say, are we doing it in a continuous way? And let's just take compliance as one example. You're only as compliant as the last time you checked. So if your philosophy on compliance is do it once a week, then 6 days you're not compliant, potentially. That's the kind of mindset we're talking about. So are you continually compliant? From a posture control, are you continually checking you're falling away from posture and getting back on? If a plane only checked it was on target once a trip, it would be an awful long trip. It's constantly readjusting. And then fronting innovation, I've spoke about that, but you really need to be sure you confront innovation that's coming from AWS and all the other clouds. Holistic, and this one is, we can get a bit technical on this one, but one of CoreStack's philosophies are, you have to have a holistic view of a cloud resource. You can't have a cloud resource has many facets, a cost one, a security one, a sustainability one, a compliance one, a policy one, ownership one, you name it, it has all of them. And from a governance perspective, you need to manage that with the interdependencies that exist across multiple clouds. Workloads now span that. So you cannot have this philosophy of, I'm going to do security here, I'm going to do cost here. You need to look at them interdependently, because changing something on one impacts the other. You need to manage it through one pane of glass. You need to be visible holistically. If you can't see it, you're not going to track it or manage it. So being holistic is a big thing for us. Having a cloud resource as a platform with every facet is a huge design deal. Autonomous. You need intelligent autonomy. You don't need to just automate stuff to go faster. You need to now start connecting it. When you look at the spread of the cloud, where is the edge of the cloud? Great question. When you want to automate the end-to-end experience, there's a lot more intelligence needed behind that than just making it go faster through automated tools. So we look at the intent behind the automation and put the workload at the prime instead of the infrastructure below it. Policy-driven. We want to abstract complexity for you and for you to be able to drive things policy-wide across multiple clouds. We're doing these things, but in general, these are things you should be thinking about when you're thinking of cloud governance. And then the biggest one, I think, is discovery. Automated discovery. People, you've democratized cloud. We've, DevOps teams everywhere. Everybody's doing cloud at the speed of cloud, which is great. But you need to discover everything the minute it's discovered. It needs to be discovered, not just from what your entity is doing, but from what the hyperscalers are providing. Automating that, super important. And then I could talk about this one. Whatever we're doing here, you need to look at this as an ecosystem. You need to be able to vertically integrate it, horizontally integrate it, ecosystem integrate it, and release it as code. So your governance needs to be baked into the DevOps pipeline up front so that things are done and not done after the fact, but done prior. And the last thing, nimble, on that, we all live through reorgs. How complicated is assigning cost to the owner when you're living in a reorg? It adds a lot of complexity and it just messes everything up. You need to be nimble. You need to be able to do things as they happen. You need to be able to react as it happens. You need to front the innovation curve as it happens. So in the 23 seconds I got left, I just want to sum up and say there's 3 things you need to think about. The first one is accept that cloud governance is the new cloud frontier to master. So you better master it, however you're going to do that. The second thing is, are you doing cloud with confidence? Because if you're doing cloud with confidence, you've got governance nailed. In which case, fantastic, well done. If you're not, if you honestly can't look at every aspect of cloud with confidence, then come speak to us. We'll give you some pointers about how to do that. But that's the goal. It's not just to hit metrics, it's to give confidence. So you can really say, we should go faster and further because our cloud platform is model. And then the third thing in this is, whatever you are going to do, please take a next-gen approach. Do it with the future in mind. Whatever capability you're designing today, if you can't double-click and see the next version of it, then perhaps go back and look at that, and that's what we do. So from a CoreStack perspective, that's our sort of like 15-minute overview of why cloud governance, next-gen cloud governance, is the new cloud frontier. I welcome anybody to come to booth 1238 for further conversation. We're just around the corner. Thank you for listening, and I really hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.